Hey everybody, it is Romania Black, and my brother is sitting next to me munching popcorn while we get ready to watch episode 6 of Arcane, When These Walls Come Tumbling Down. Isn't that a song? That's a song, isn't it? Like, when the walls... Yeah, it's a song. But yeah, so it's the end of Act 2. Nothing of consequence will happen this episode. I'm sure nothing bad's gonna happen. It's going to be fine. We're just rounding out Act 2. Usually in a 3-act structure, you have the first act, it sets up all your characters, your conflict, everything. And the second act is where a lot of your action, the ball gets rolling. And usually the second act ends with your characters at their lowest point. And then the third act is to build everything back up towards the resolution and the climax. So, But we've set up lots of things with Jayce that will surely not go wrong. We've set up lots of things with Victor that will surely not go wrong. Things with Vi and Caitlyn. And things with Silco and Powder, a.k.a. Jinx. And things with Marcus. Nothing surely will go wrong. So, yeah. I'm pretty excited. I don't know what to expect from this episode, and my brother's been eerily quiet, so not spoiling me, so it's good. But yeah, I think I'm ready to go, so let's find out. Shall we? Let's do this. Let's just jump right in. We're going to start episode 6 of Arcane, and we're going to start that here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Holy cow. What? Okay. That did not go where I thought it was going to go. At all. At all. This was a weird episode. This is very weird. It's a very weird episode. I guess by characters being at their lowest points, it's a lot more mental, I guess, than physical where they're at their lowest points. I love the Victor backstory throughout all of this. This is great. Like the whole thing of him being in the Undercity with all the putrid water and everything, and having like the limp and everything from a kid, and always being an inventor and trying to invent these things, and I love it. And so the girl, Sky, is she the one with the glasses? She's the assistant. Yeah. That's why she Oh, and you can kind of see it now. Okay, I see it now. Yeah. So she came from the Undercity too. I'm sure she probably came with him. And then yeah. So she's always kind of liked him. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. When he said Sky later, I was like, huh. So yeah, I would never made the connection that he's with Silco's partner, that they knew each other. That's so crazy. That's so crazy. And I love the metaphor of Rio, the mutation that he's trying to keep alive. And Victor figuring out, knowing what that feels like to want to keep something alive, and he thinks that of himself. But then there's that question, the quality of life, because he sees Rio, and like Rio's just basically a husk of what it once was, but he's trying everything he can to keep it alive, but it's just not the same.
You can also see just how much he's progressed with the Shimmer, where now it's like an instant mutation, to where now, to back then, it was a slow process.
Yeah, you can see that how it's developed. And as soon as we got into the cave with all the flowers, I'm like, oh, that's where the Shimmer came from, is from all the flowers and everything. And the Undercity, and they're all there. You kind of imply that they're kind of a mutation too, right? They kind of seem like that. But that's so crazy, and it's so sad. Poor Rio. I got very How to Tame Your Dragon vibes from Rio. The animation on it looked a lot like Toothless.
A giant axolotl.
Yeah, no, that's literally what it's like. Yeah, the mutation. But oh my gosh. So yeah, Victor. Obviously, I don't want to be spoiled, but the Hex Tech. I get why Heimerdinger's worried about it, because he sees the same thing he saw in the past, but I feel like with Victor's blood being involved that it's going to be somewhat different. I mean, I don't want any spoilers yet of how that's going to develop, but I could see why it might be a little bit different. And he keeps trying to do all the organic matter, and he keeps dying, but I'm like, it's because it's not from Victor. It's melded with Victor's blood, so it's not going to work unless it's Victor.
Well, it's kind of the same of the old Hextech crystals.
Mm-hmm.
They were too unstable.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't...
Oh, so that's why it's like it bursts and then it can't stabilize it.
More of bursting. It's more of it's rapidly evolving and aging.
Oh, so it's just like it just grows really quickly
it
and
goes
then
through its life cycle, mutated life cycle too quickly.
Instantly, and that's the problem. It's not that it's failing; it's that it's working too quick, and then it just and then it's done.
And also you're dealing with plants.
Right. So your plants versus human, the lifespans are totally the biology is totally different. Yeah. I love that though. I love that this show, every episode, the transitions, it's like they were like, what's the best way to transition from this scene to that scene? Like this whole thing of him transitioning to Heimerdinger. And yeah, Heimerdinger, this episode, I sympathize with Heimerdinger because I understand what he's talking about. He's been around for so long, but they bring up a lot of good points in that, I mean, with Victor, he brings up, he's like, well, Heimerdinger, your words are very sweet, but are you really going to remember me 100 years from now? Or have you gone through this enough, you know? And poor Victor, like the animation on Victor this episode's really good. Like them just getting his facial expressions and everything. But Jayce fell down the dark well.
But at the same time, Heimerdinger has a point there.
Oh, yeah.
They're trying to experiment in new waters too quickly.
Yeah.
Until yesterday, they had no idea that the Hextech could evolve or that it could affect organic matter. Yeah,
that was just a day ago. Yeah, they're really trying to advance it quickly.
And now that's like taking a new drug and immediately pushing it onto human test subjects.
Yeah, they haven't done anything with it, but they're so desperate they want to save Victor, and it's like, well, the intentions are there and they're good, but Heimerdinger's like, I've seen this before. Also, yeah, I like the painting that she's doing and getting the egg with the paint, making her own paints. That's interesting, like the technology of making the paint. This scene with Mel and Jayce, it's like, she's like, oh, you're a clinger, huh? Like, oh, yeah, give me my space. She's like, you think this is going to be a thing? Okay. Because Jayce is like, clearly acts like they're going to be girlfriend and boyfriend, and Mel's just like, yeah, I just want to go here and paint my sailboats, so... I feel like he's way more invested than she is in this relationship. But yeah, establishing that he's dying, Victor's dying, and Mel's like, well, you guys are friends, you should hang out with him while he's still got time left on Earth, you know. The animation's really good, and that painting's really good too. But yeah, just Jayce, establishing that Jayce is going to do whatever he can to... And again, that transition from Jayce and Mel to Victor... Looking at, I love that, just surrounded by the purple, and it's like the webs of like the arteries and veins and stuff we saw from the last episode in the Hextech. It's so good, and him just looking so entranced by the runes and everything. It's great. I love it. Just the animation on him is great this episode, and him trying to figure and him putting two and two together about how the Hextech took his blood and everything. I think there's something with it that it's only going to react to him because it's like done like a venom thing and it's merged with his blood. But, interesting. So yeah, this guy, what's his name? Theorem? Old Theorem that Jinx messes with?
We'll call him Chuck.
I feel bad for Theorem. Oh yeah, Chuck. Hey Chuck, I feel bad. Jinx in this whole scene with Theorem gave me such Harley Quinn vibes. Like her whole mannerism and everything. Very Harley Quinn vibes. And her trying to fish out. It's funny because Jinx is smart and she tries to fish out information, but she's so quirky and strange that everybody kind of does. No one knows exactly how to react around her because they're like, am I going to trigger her or set her off? And so I like that she just plays around with him until he gives her the answers that she wants. And then she gets that from Savika. And she's just walking around casually with this murder stone, this stone that could destroy a bunch of stuff. And she's just carrying around like a marble. No big deal. And takes the drink, of course. And then I really thought that was going to be like an actual grenade for a second. I'm like, surely she wouldn't. But it was just a paint bomb. Man, Savika. Savika, honey. She just had a very, very bad day. And so, my thing is, I guess, the liquid that Caitlyn ends up getting for her, does it have shimmer in it? Is it kind of like what Silco uses for his eye to fix it? Or is it something different from shimmer? Or are they going to talk about that later?
I don't think they talk about it.
Okay. But I mean, so is the drug kind of like in trace amounts, it can heal and do good things, but then if you keep drinking it like an addict, then if you have too much of it, then it does its weird mutation stuff?
I think it's kind of like a steroid.
Oh, okay. So they're just so her giving her. I mean, that's all she could do at the time. She didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
But it was just a temporary fix to get her up and going, so they could get out of there. Okay. I love the eyeball on the silo there and everything. The eyeball in neon is so freaking cool. And it makes so much sense. Like, it ties to if Powder and Vi lived there and Powder saw that all the time. It kind of explains why her drawings and stuff have that, like, rune quality to it. That kind of funky quality. And I still think that guy's Echo. I'm so curious. But we'll get back to him because he just showed up looking at them. Savika, honey, you just had a bad day. And that moment where Powder's in the chair and puts on the gas mask, she looked a lot like Silco there. There are some times in this where Jinx has very Silco mannerisms, and it makes sense that he raised her pretty much, but it's so interesting. I love this. And the thing about Jinx is she's just unstable enough that I'm like, would she chop off Savika's other arm? She probably would. And she probably would chop it off and would not think twice about it. Because she just has that vibe around her. Yeah. Ugh. And then calling her a liar. So, why did she call her a liar and tie her up? That part. Was it just because she didn't believe her at the moment?
She didn't believe
that Vi was back?
Yeah.
And that's why she left her for Silco. That was freaky when Silco looked up and she was just hanging from the ceiling. That was really, really bizarre.
I like to think that the next words out of his mouth were, again.
Again. Here we go again. Yeah, Savika, honey, yeah, you were asking for it, calling her a Jinx and saying she was going to implode. Because, yeah, that's what Savika wants. Savika wants her to implode so she'll get kicked out, but, yeah, Jinx is just... She's so crazy. And so then, yeah, this whole scene with Marcus going home and Silco being there, it was so tense. Because you're like, you expect something bad to happen. And I'm guessing Marcus's wife isn't there because, or would you leave a kid alone? Marcus is a bad parent. He left his, 5-year-old alone in the house.
They were probably... maids, but Silco got him to get out.
Yeah, okay, that would make more sense, but I'm like, surely he wouldn't leave his kid alone, but yeah. I love that the henchmen are, on the bed and reading the kid's book, and he's, thumbing through the kid's book. It's and she's a little kid, Ren, the daughter Ren. Ren's a little kid, so she doesn't get that there's a danger in this situation. She's just like, oh, you guys came to play. I also love the cat with the bamboo shoot and the gun.
That's Teemo.
Oh, so is that a reference?
He's a champion in League of Legends.
Oh, okay. I was trying to see...
He's like Heimerdinger. He's a Yordle.
Oh, see, I was trying to think, when he was reading the book, I'm like, what is that story of? But it's just an Easter egg. Okay. That makes more sense. But yeah, Silco he's definitely talking... And I love Ren kind of catches on that he's talking down to her. She's just like, this guy's kind of creepy.
It's the story he's telling. He's trying to pretty much tell Marcus what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's like, if you don't find Vi and you don't take care of this like you originally were supposed to, then we're going to have a problem. And then when he tosses the card on, he's like, accidents happen. Like, your daughter just may meet an unfortunate accident if you don't do what you said you're going to do from the start. Yeah, when Mark's like, I can fix this, he's like, sure. Everyone makes mistakes. What's important is we don't repeat them. That's great. So yeah, the moment that the one guy, the merchant, the moment he was like, he didn't want to go back with Caitlyn to see Vi, I was like, he's gonna rat them out. And sure enough, he does. It's
He's pretty hooked on Shimmer.
Oh yeah.
But at the very least, he got her the medicine so Vi could have a chance.
He did. I will give him that, yeah. When he first was like, come with me, I was like, that's a dangerous situation.
He could have just gone straight to Silco after seeing him go in there, but instead, he made sure she got the medicine and then went.
That's true. I guess we can give him that. He at least...
Make sure she had at least a fighting chance instead of just fighting 3 shimmered creatures injured.
Yeah, I mean, she's still barely hanging on, but yeah. Yeah, he at least did that. You're right. He did at least let her go. That's true. So yeah, this whole thing with the plant and everything, and Jayce and them wanting to, like, help heal Victor and all of that, all the toxins out of his body, everything like that. And yeah, Victor is just so... I get it. Like, when he goes back to the scientist in the cave, which was now the lab, and he has Rio in the status tube, and he's like, I get why you were trying to save it now. Like, I get why it was important to you. And he's trying to do the same thing for himself. I feel so bad for Victor. I want him to live. I don't want him to die. And Jayce is like, I'll help you. And then Heimerdinger has PTSD, seeing the Hex Tech and thinking back to seeing the staff that he saw in the flashback that's like the cause of destruction, and he thinks this is going to be it, part 2. But I don't think it will. I don't know. I feel like Jayce and Victor being involved will make it different. But I don't know. Jayce is pretty... He kind of went off the deep end this episode. I was like, oh, buddy. Oh, honey. It's funny.
Yeah, he pretty much got Heimerdinger kicked out of the job he's had for 200 years.
Yeah, the retirement party. Oh, that scene. We're not quite there yet. We're at the scene where they're right underground. So, curious. So, Vi and Powder being in this underground part, I'm assuming so they were under there for a while, and then their parents and them tried to revolt with Vander, and that's when everything went down.
That's where the fissures were.
Okay.
The gas they were talking about.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So they were down here, and then they ended up going up, and that's when all that went down. So that makes sense. But yeah, it's so weird that it makes sense that Vi would lead Caitlyn here because she knows this place is safe. But her seeing like all the past stuff, the stuff with Powder, the stuff where she's a kid on the hammock and everything, like it's it's well done. I like the shots in here. And Caitlyn's trying to be nice. And I like that Caitlyn has the handkerchief that she offered the one guy back in the last episode or the episode before, and Vi's like, I don't need that. And it's like Vi tries to push her away, being like, you don't know me, and Caitlyn's like, I'm trying to, but you keep pushing me away. Even though she's a topsider, she says, I suppose topside is to blame for all your misfortunes. And it's like, no, not necessarily. Just most of them. And so, yeah, this whole thing here where Heimerdinger comes in, and he's like, what the hell is that? The hexcore. An adaptive hex tech that evolves. And just like the shimmer, pun intended, in Victor's eyes. And Heimerdinger's like, Heimerdinger like zones out this whole thing of healing magic, and he's just like, nope, I remember that big old staff that caused the destruction. And
it's not a staff. That was...
Is it a spoiler?
I'm not sure if they'll ever get to it.
We'll
it's about another group.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. But I noticed that the things around the staff were like the same webbing that was around when Victor was looking at it too. So it has that same webbing, and he's seeing the same thing again. And Heimerdinger's like, Victor, something's different. What did you do? So he's trying to figure out, he doesn't know about the blood. Yeah, he doesn't know about the blood getting involved in it. And I got very Lord of the Ring vibes, where they were like, the ring must be destroyed, the hexcore must be destroyed. And he's like, no. Jayce is like the human that's telling Elrond, no, it won't be. Yeah, and Jayce is just thinking about Victor and trying to help him. And I love the little thing, like, barks at him and runs away. But yeah, Jayce is like just trying to help Victor, and Victor's trying to help himself. And Victor's gonna go off and meet Mad Scientist Man. And Jayce is like,
Singed.
What is it?
His name's Singed. I can't hold back anymore.
Singed?
Yeah.
Alright, Singe. I don't want to know any more about him, though. No spoilers, but okay, Singe. And then Jayce is going to go to the council, right? So we have Caitlyn going off, and then we see the merchant that got addicted to the shimmer and took her to the
potion maker.
The potion maker. I love it. It had a very Legend of Zelda vibe, like when you go in the cave and it's like, and it asks you for the rubies and then it gives you the sword or it gives you the potion. Reminded me of that. And she just gives the gun away. She's like, here you go. We'll trade for that. But yeah, I do feel for the merchant that he doesn't want her to see her like this. All right. And then she gets the medicine and goes back. And yeah, at that point I was like, I don't know. So this whole thing with Marcus and going through this episode, this whole thing with Marcus and Jayce, I'm trying to figure out what is Marcus. So Marcus is getting put in charge of the gates to patrol and try to find Vi and Powder, right?
It's more of he just basically told them that Jinx attacked them again. Mm-hmm. So now it's nobody gets to come in from Zoan without going through a checkpoint.
Okay, so it's basically
border patrol.
Yeah, and Marcus is like, okay, well, we'll find Vi, because if she comes up here to get anything else, or chases Powder up here or whatever, then they're going to have to go through the checkpoint and we'll find him, right?
Well, her and Caitlyn.
Oh, to get Caitlyn, because if Caitlyn comes back, then he's going to find her and be like, where's Vi? And, okay. Because I was wondering, I was like, if Marcus is trying to find Vi, but he's also trying to find Caitlyn, so it makes sense why he wants the border patrol at the gate, so they can catch her easier. Okay, that makes more sense. And then, yeah, Heimerdinger, he gives this speech talking about, like, how they've loosened their morals and traded honor for prestige, and they're not doing things for the betterment of society anymore. It's all for themselves, and they're not coming together as one culture. They're just all divided. And the moment he was like, if we set aside our greed and arrogance, we can be one again. But I was like, Mel just established in the whole last episode that these people are all about greed and avarice and self-advancement. But he doesn't know.
That and the fact that in the past, they never used the hex tech. They were all against magic. But when Jayce started showing them just how more comfortable their lives are with it.
Uh-huh. Jayce is literally the apple. He's literally the apple from he's not maybe Lucifer or the snake itself that offered the apple, but he is the apple.
I thought you were meaning like Apple the tech company.
Oh,
we're trying to rule the world.
Could be that too. But yeah, I get both arguments. Jayce is like, no, we don't have time to do this because his friend is about to die, and he's like, he's veiling it with the whole we need to advance the future, but it's really to help his friend. And Heimerdinger's like, yeah, that's great and everything, but also the bigger picture. And Jayce, it's like the rest of the council are so corrupt that they're going to go along with it.
You can see hesitation. They don't want to throw Heimerdinger out.
Yeah, except that one with the cup. The one with the cog, she was like, throw him out, I don't care.
You could tell she was hesitating.
Yeah.
She was drinking to calm her nerves. Mm-hmm. Heck, even Mel doesn't seem to want to until Jayce looked at him.
And then it's funny that she gets kind of swayed by Jayce, and then the old man, as soon as she raised her hand, I'm like, that guy that she gave the toy to is going to be the next one to raise his hand. And then they all do.
I don't know if all of them do.
I know, because there's an empty chair.
No, the guy with the tall mask.
I think he did.
You think so?
Yeah, I think that yeah. Well, yeah, Heimerdinger sitting in that one chair. Yeah, they all did, because there's an empty chair. Yeah, Heimerdinger was in the one chair that was not lit up that had somebody in it. So they all did. They all raised their hand to boot him out. I feel for Heimerdinger, because he's like, y'all, it's like he's seeing a second time around. He's like, y'all just can't listen. You just can't. But I feel like it'll be different, but I don't know. And then, yeah, Caitlyn and her going up there. I didn't know. This episode's kind of weird, because there wasn't it's weird. There was two big-ish battles at the end here that were kind of disjointed. There was Vi versus the three Shimmer guys, and then Caitlyn helps to bring down the walls. When these walls come tumbling down, roll credits. And I like that she figures out from the height chart that it's Powder and Violet's home, and then she puts two and two together. She's like, oh God, you guys used to live here? And who's Powder? She's like, it's a long story. But, God, and then Silco has that freak out after the eye tumbles. Him having that freak out. I thought he tried to snap that guy's neck, and then he just ends up, shoving him down. But that's crazy. And so then, yeah. So these guys coming in. And so then the whole thing with Powder and the light, the firework, the flare that she lights up. I'm glad because for a second I thought that at the end when the flare stopped working that Vi wasn't coming. And for a second I was like, is she really not going to come? And then Powder's just going to get disillusioned even more. But she does show up.
Which might be actually worse.
Yeah.
Because she didn't show up alone. She came with the enforcer, just like Silvika said.
She did, but I felt like I got worried about that for a second because I was like, oh, well, damn it, that's right. Jinx is going to get mad. But then it seemed like for a second Jinx was going to get over it, like maybe, and that's when the firelights showed up, and then it all just went to hell in a handbasket. And I thought for a second, I thought that Jinx and Caitlyn were going to get stuck together away from all of them. I thought that's what was going to happen. And it may, don't spoil me, we didn't really get to see the ending there. But I thought it was going to be Jinx and Caitlyn stuck together and be like, well, that's going to be interesting. She's going to have to explain herself and how this all works. Because Vi's been taken by the firelights. And I know that's Echo. It's like, it has to be. So that's going to be interesting. But the whole flare scene... And I love the juxtaposition of Vi clawing her way back up the wall and Silco, like, just being so pissed off, and then Powder, like, in the middle of it all, like, Powder in the middle of Silco and Vi, like, both sides struggling to get back to her. And then, God, the scene where Milo and Clagger on either side of her, it's good. It's good stuff. And then I was wondering who was loading the gun. I was like, who's loading the gun? But it was Marcus.
No, it was the enforcers.
Oh, so it wasn't necessarily just Marcus. It was them going to the bridge.
It was the enforcers all setting up the barricade. Yeah, and getting their guns loaded in case.
Okay, so I thought it was Marcus at first, but it was just another enforcer. But yeah, Silco getting ticked off. And I love Vi runs into the guy and just flips him off. Like, that's so good. It's so random, and the camera movement makes it look like just real time. It looks like something off of Cops, where he just like runs into him. That was great. And then the eye, and then it's so funny Silco being in the middle of the eye with his whole messed up eye and everything, and the eye's broken. That's so good. And then that's when Vi notices the flare and goes up there. But yeah, poor Jinx now, y'all. Jinx has got some issues. And then we see the Singe guy with Rio, and Rio's in the status tube. He's monitoring it. Yep. And pumping it still in there.
Well, it was the original mutation.
It was, yeah. I love that, him going back. And seeing him. And that look on his face, like he almost has like a soft look on his eye when he looks back at Victor, like, oh hey, look at you. Jinx is an interesting character. I like Vi a lot, and I like Caitlyn a lot, and I like Victor a lot. Jayce is hot-headed, but I still like Jayce. I like Jinx, I do. She got some issues. She's a little manic, and it's all right. But I like her when she has these calm moments with Vi. Her voice actress does an amazing job, but she's so unstable that she's unpredictable and unstable, and I feel uneasy around her character, which is the point. You're supposed to feel uneasy around her, but I never get like I get a read on her, but I'm always like, I don't trust what your emotions are going to go off. But yeah, so okay, the bird guy that was with the firelights, he has the orb now, right? He took it with him.
More like a she.
Oh, did it? Let me see. We get to this battle scene, and then the two sisters have their whole deal, and the firelights show up, and then I love when Vi and Powder have their backs to each other, and they're like fighting it out and like fighting the firelights. Okay, and we got these guys. I love that they're all in the greens. The colors are great, and then there's the pinks and the blues. Okay, I want to see. Oh, it is a girl. Okay, yeah, you're right. It is a girl. Huh. And then, oh man, I do like the final battle here. It's not the final battle I thought was going to happen. I thought that down with Silco, that was going to end up being the final battle, and I thought Jinx was going to get in down there with them or whatever, but no, it's all this. And I liked this final battle. It was good. This episode felt a lot more subdued than I was expecting for this to be the end of Act 2. It's a lot more somber, which is fine, but it didn't go as all out as episode 3 did. But then again, we still have 3 more episodes, right? So, And then, they ninja vanish and take Vi with them. I love that shot where he comes down with the axe and she just moves her head to miss it, and it's just like accentuated with the vibrant like distilling of the camera. It's great. And Vi is seeing just how violent Jinx is and is not happy about it. She's like, "You're my sister and you're just being so violent." And you can tell that Vi just hates it, and she's about to say something, and that's when she gets knocked out. Because Silco has let Jinx be a loose cannon all this time. And it's... I know! He's let her be a loose cannon, but...
That's her title.
Really?
Jinx the Loose Cannon.
Oh, is it? Well, it's fitting. It's fitting, because that's literally what she is. They've let her be a loose cannon, and Vi's not happy with it, of what she's turned into. Interesting. I guess there's kind of a comparison there to Victor and Jinx, too, that they've both become, from being kids to now, they've both changed and evolved. Interesting. And then it just ends. It just ends with them taking Vi away.
Vi and Caitlyn.
Vi and Caitlyn. Did they take Caitlyn, too?
Yeah, she wasn't there either.
Oh. So we got Vi and Caitlyn now. The Firelights do. Jinx is alone. Again. Silco is failed in his mission. Marcus got the barricade. Jayce is trying to help Victor, and poor Heimerdinger's been retired and outcast. It's funny because Heimerdinger, he saved Jayce and he helped Jayce from the start, and then Jayce this episode kind of turned on him. It's like, Jayce went to the dark side. Interesting. So any Easter eggs, anything else in there, in this episode, in the storybook?
No, but I'm hoping that image of Timo leads to us getting Bandle City. Oh,
if they do a sequel series?
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely... The idea that there are all these other worlds is really cool. And so I think that'll be interesting. Nations. That'll be interesting if we get that. Yeah, I do like that. That's a cool Easter egg to have. Cool. So that's the end of Act 2. I feel like that was more of a setup episode than it was actually the ending of an act. It felt like it was just...
Well, it's the closing of Act 2 and the beginning of Act 3.
Yeah, see, the very first act was its own... I felt like it was its own arc, and it was very self-contained, those first 3 episodes. And these 3 episodes... The ending of this episode did not feel like it was the ending of... It didn't feel like episodes 4, 5, and 6 were just contained in itself. It felt like, no, we're carrying on to 7, 8, and 9. It's just the 4 through 9 are going to be their own thing, whereas 1 through 3 were their own thing. And I didn't know how that was going to be. I didn't know if it would be 4 through 6, and then we stop and we cut to another arc, or what was going to happen. But I'm fine with that. I'm fine with going over to episode 7. That sounds good to me. So, this was a great episode. A lot different than I thought, but I liked it. So, I'm curious to know your all thoughts down below, what you guys thought of this episode, too. Got anything else with it? No? I'm very excited for episode 7, though. I'm hyped for that. So, we shall see what's going to happen. So, in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe. Take care. And we'll be back very soon to start Act 3 and episode 7 of Arcane. Bye.